What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Adam Ronis, bringing you the Fantasy Alarm Fantasy Football live preview show here. Adam previewing all the games here, Week 8, answering your start-sit questions that you have to get your lineups ready to go. Tonight, Thursday night, we have the Falcons and Panthers, a game that has a 51 game total. Some definitely very important fantasy players involved in this matchup, so it should be a good one to watch finally.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, these teams have met already this year, but we expect a lot of points in this game. And I think from a seasonal perspective, it's pretty easy. I mean, you're pretty much starting almost anyone that you have in this game. Matt Ryan's kind of a borderline call. I have him, right around a QB1 this week, but maybe there's someone else that you have as a backup that you might like a little bit better. The running backs, I mean, not a huge Todd Gurley fan, but again, he keeps finding the end zone and they get in close.
And he torched this team earlier, torched them.
Yeah, and even the Panthers have been dreadful against the run, and even when Gurley tries not to score, he does. So,
right. Tries not to score. You can't tell me he doesn't have an escalator in that contract for like 10 touchdowns or something like that.
I don't know, but I don't think he's back. He's on a 1-year deal, so I don't know about that. But fantasy owners who have him, though, we're certainly happy with that. Julio, you're starting. Ridley, you're starting. Hayden Hurst has come along. Talk about it's starting to click with him and Matt Ryan. I have him right around the tight end 1. And on the Panthers side, Bridgewater is one of the top streamers this week. Mike Davis gets another week where you can play him with Christian McCaffrey still not active yet. Right. Looks like McCaffrey will be back next week when they play Kansas City. And DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are pretty much guys you're getting in your lineup. So from a seasonal perspective, it's pretty straightforward with what you're going to do.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of great talent, and like you said, they're active, so you're putting them in your lineup. Adam, we're already getting rolling here with questions. We got them firing. We're going to start off over on the YouTube page here. Henry wants to know what you think here. He's got Josh Allen, but he picked up Teddy Bridgewater. Do you like Bridgewater tonight against the Falcons or Josh Allen going against that Patriots team?
I have Allen slightly higher, but it's actually very close. So if you're feeling Bridgewater, you can go with him. Allen obviously has struggled the last couple weeks. New England, though, they look like a team that's in big trouble. And, Gilmore is on the injury report. They're kind of banged up here. And Allen always has that upside because of his rushing ability. So if you want to go Bridgewater, I'm fine with it. I think I have them very close this week, both QB1s.
Yeah, I like Bridgewater a lot. I mean, like we said, Atlanta's allowing things like 330 yards passing per game. Bridgewater's gone over 300 yards twice this year, and one of those was up against Atlanta. So I think Bridgewater's a safer play. I'll agree with you there. Next one here over on YouTube, we have Hollywood Cole. Bye week blues. He needs 2 of Hyde, assuming Carson's out, Damian Harris, Joshua Kelly, or Jerick McKinnon in a PPR league. So Hyde, Harris, Kelly, or McKinnon.
Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to make this decision until Sunday or after Friday practice reports. If Carlos Hyde is good to go, I'm playing him. I mean, he's going to be the lead back. I don't expect Chris Carson to play. They're saying it's a game-time decision. I know the guy is tough, but I don't expect him to play. And then it comes down to McKinnon or Kelly. I mean, look, we're guessing with McKinnon, all right, because I didn't see any of that coming last week. They treated Jeff Wilson with a workload of Derrick Henry. And no one saw that coming. And I know Wilson is out this week on injured reserve. Tevin Coleman could be back. So it could be Coleman, McKinnon, and JaMychal Hasty. So it's tough to rely on any of them because you just don't know what Shanahan's going to do. You would think McKinnon would at least be the pass-catching back, and this should be a game with Seattle where they have to put up points. I don't see them stopping Seattle. Their defense is really banged up. Don't look at what they did last week against New England. That was more a product of New England's offense just falling apart right now and in shambles, but they're banged up on defense, San Francisco. So right now I lean Hyde and probably Kelly, but check back to see if we get any updates on what the role is in that backfield. And, I mean, at this point, can we even trust anything coming out of San Francisco? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to believe that the reason Shanahan, gave him that load management was so he could play him this week, and they have the injuries that they're dealing with. But I largely would end up agreeing with you. You have Kelly there against Denver, and then Hyde, of course, if he's out. Last one here on YouTube before we flip over to Facebook. Rest of the season question already. Derek Carr or Cam Newton?
Man, 2 weeks ago I would have said Cam Newton easily, but I'm going to go with Derek Carr. I mean, I've never been a huge Derek Carr fan, but he's been putting up numbers for fantasy. They've actually been taking shots deep more often now. He talked about that. and he's getting you multiple touchdowns every week. So maybe Cam Newton turns it around, but it's a combination of Cam Newton not playing well at all, and also he's got no weapons there. We know Julian Edelman is going to be out.
Yeah.
This knee issue. N'Keal Harry's banged up. They just don't have anything there. So I would go with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I agree with you. The defenses are just honing in on the run game. Cam can't get anything going, and 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions is not what you're looking for out of your quarterback either. So all on the Carr trading with you. We'll jump on over to Facebook side here. We got a couple questions here. Rod wants to know Wentz or Lamar this week.
Wow. I think I have Lamar a spot higher, but it is not crazy. Look,
not this matchup, right?
Yeah, I'm not that scared of Pittsburgh anymore, man. Like, first of all, I don't really think there's any dominant defenses in the NFL. We saw the Chiefs carve up the Ravens defense.
Right.
We've seen the Steelers give up points to the Eagles and then the Titans. So I still kind of lean Lamar. I know Wentz has the way better matchup, and he's getting Jalen Reagor back. Again, this is one of those, if you like, your gut is telling you I want to play Wentz, I'm not going to argue with you. It's tough to bench Lamar because he's got that huge ceiling. And again, Pittsburgh is, there's no defense where I go, oh, I can't play my quarterback or any player against them this year. I just can't. I know they've given up the 7th fewest points fantasy-wise to quarterbacks, but let's look at who they've gone against. I always like to do this. Whenever someone says, oh, 7th fewest, I always go to the game log. I'm like, all right, who'd they play? Daniel Jones, all right, who had 279 and 2 touchdowns. Jeff Driscoll, Deshaun Watson, who tore them up in the first half, and then they did nothing in the second half, and that was with O'Brien as coach. Carson Wentz, at that point, they were struggling, bad offensive line. And again, they put a point. Wentz put up 258 and 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield, I mean, come on. We don't expect Baker Mayfield to do anything against
not against a good team. No. Bad team, sure. Good team.
And Ryan Tannehill, who only had 220 and 2 touchdowns, but, in the second half was able to move the football. So Lamar Jackson still has that high ceiling. I know he's been disappointing. They've had 2 weeks off to prepare for this game. Yeah. So I lean Lamar Jackson. I think I have him a spot or 2 higher. But, again, if you feel like you want to play Carson Wentz against Dallas, I'm not going to argue with you.
Right. Hard to go ahead here. We are starting to get them rolling real quick here now, Adam. Darian wants to know, need 3 wide receivers in a PPR league. T. Higgins, Kenny Golladay, Marquise Brown, or Allen Robinson. Of course, Robinson we have to figure out with the concussion situation going on there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tricky part right now is we don't know about Allen Robinson, who didn't practice today, and it's not a good sign, especially a short week. The concussion happened Monday night, so this decision might be made for you. If not, I'm feeling Marquise Brown this week. I think it's, Pittsburgh has been getting beat on the outside, and he's been getting open left and right. It's just Lamar Jackson hasn't been hitting him. But I'm feeling a good game for Hollywood Brown this week. So I kind of want to get him in, but T. Higgins is also in a money spot. Yeah. So if Robinson plays, I'd probably sit Hollywood Brown, even though I'm feeling him. Okay. But this decision might be made for you tomorrow.
So it's definitely Higgins, definitely Golladay, and then you're flipping between Brown and Robinson based off Robinson concussion news.
Yeah, you got to play Golladay.
Okay. Yeah, all right, I agree with you. Golladay, Higgins, great spots for them. Joseph here, PPR League, would you trade his John Brown for Antonio Gibson? His other receivers are McLaurin, Devontae Parker, Ayuk, Higgins, and Adams.
I can't believe that this deal can get done. He said John Brown, right?
John Brown, yeah. I would take the running back, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I would take it. I mean, I'm assuming maybe the team with Gibson is like
loaded
2-5, and they need something this week. Yeah, I would make that trade in a heart. I love John Brown, but he's going to be inconsistent in this offense. It's a lot of digs. Beasley has at least 9 points in a PPR format in every game this year. So Brown's going to be erratic. Give me Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I agree. All right, one more question here on Facebook, and then we'll flip over. We do have some Periscope questions, and we'll kind of keep making the circles, everybody, so just be patient here. Standard League, need 2 wide receivers and a flex. Jamal Williams, J.K. Dobbins, A.J. Green, T. Higgins, John Brown, or Reagor are on waivers. What? Put in for Corey Davis, but doubtful. And he said, thanks, Howard and Adam. You know what? I get confused for Howard sometimes, but that's all right, I guess. I'll live up to Howard. That's fine. So I need 2 wide receivers and a flex.
T. Higgins is in.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and we might repeat this a few times. There's a lot of questions that we cannot answer today.
Mhm.
We don't know if Aaron Jones is going to play. My guess
Right.
is he doesn't. He did not practice again today.
Right.
And the Green Bay training staff is very conservative. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, Devontae Adams tweeted out, "I guess I don't know my own body," and then deleted it. That was against Atlanta on a Monday night as they were heading into their bye. And I think it was a smart move by Green Bay.
Yeah.
Obviously, it sucked if you had Devontae Adams, but Green Bay's thinking long term. I thought Aaron Jones would play this week because he traveled with the team last week to Houston. So, but I'm starting to think Jones is not going to play. So Jamal Williams is a lock and load if Aaron Jones is out. T. Higgins, and can you give me the other receivers again?
Yeah, okay. So it was kind of a little bit conjumbled here, but what I'm looking at here is he needs 2 receivers and a flex. He had Jamal Williams and Dobbins, AJ Green, Higgins, John Brown, or on waivers, there's Jalen Reagor and Corey Davis.
I'm probably going to go Higgins and Green.
Yeah. I would go Higgins and Green too.
It's a good matchup.
So he didn't say whether it was T or Rashad. Would Rashad Higgins change that question for you at all?
No, I would go with him too. Yeah, I would go with him too. You know, they're playing Vegas, so yeah.
Okay, so definitely Jamal Williams if we assume if Brown is out.
Yeah.
Or Jones is out rather, and then Green and Higgins would be your 2 receivers there. So good call there. We'll go over to Periscope here. Let's go ahead. We have Justin Jefferson, Fulgham, or Deontay Johnson this week.
Oh my goodness, this is PPR.
It doesn't say whether or not it's PPR.
And he only needs one?
It said only needs one.
What kind of freaking league is this, man?
10-team league, probably.
So wait, it was Fulgham, Jefferson, and who was the other one?
Deontay Johnson, who practiced full.
This is really, really tough. I'm gonna go. Man,
Where do you think Jair Alexander covers in Minnesota?
He was on Thielen in week 1, and Thielen actually had a good game against him.
Yeah.
And Thielen has had some production against him, so that would change things. My guess is he'll be on Thielen, which would open up for Jefferson.
Right.
But Fulgham's got such a good matchup against Dallas, and they're shorthanded. Even with Rager back, man, this is tough. I'm going to lean Jefferson.
12-team standard league, you said.
Oh, it's a standard league? Or, I mean, I really want to play all these guys. I'm going to go Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jefferson, too, for the touchdown, deep play upside if it's not PPR. I agree with you there. Next question, we have Carr, Bridgewater, or Burrow. Pick one.
I have Burrow 1 spot over Bridgewater.
Burrow 1 spot over Bridgewater. Okay.
He's balling out right now, man.
They're letting him throw. He's only thrown less than 34 times once this season. So,
he's got Higgins and
no Mixon again possibly this week. So they're just going to sit back and let him chuck.
Yeah, they're not giving Gio. Gio's not a guy you're giving 20 carries to. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I lean Burrow. They're both really good plays. They're both top 12 quarterbacks this week.
Yeah, all 3 of those are in great matchups. Bridgewater gets Atlanta. Carr, we know we love, and Burrow. But I agree. I would go Burrow just the way he's throwing. Wentz or Tannehill this week?
Another tough one. I believe I have them ranked back to back. Let me. Oh yeah. I'm
leaning Wentz personally, but
I'm gonna go Wentz.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Wentz on this one. Just Dallas is so bad. Last year over on Periscope, we have who should I start on defense? The Chiefs or the Ravens?
Chiefs, no question about it. They are my number 1 defense this week. They were last week. They're going against the Jets. You play them. The Jets are going to be playing from behind, and you like that. The Chiefs can tee off. Remember, the Chiefs had 1 defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown last week. They're going to get some sacks. So, yeah, Chiefs for sure. I know the Ravens, you're like, oh, the Ravens, they're still playing the Steelers, and they're not a bad play this week. Usually they're top 3. I think I have them 4th or 5th just because Kansas City's in a great spot, Philly's in a great spot against Dallas, and Tampa Bay's in a great spot against the Giants. So Ravens are behind those. So Chiefs this week, and don't know why you have 2 defenses.
Yeah, I don't carry 2 defenses. Maybe it's a waiver situation. I don't know, but I agree with you. Yeah, I've had people tell me they're carrying 2 defenses to keep them away from other teams. I say then you're just doing yourself a disservice by not having a bench spot available. So
yeah, and again, I haven't checked this and done research, but I'm guessing defensive scoring is down this year. There just haven't been a lot of big performances.
Yeah, and a lot of scoring by other teams. So defenses, I can't imagine are doing too great there. Back over to YouTube here. John Barclay, you're giving. I think you need every question on your team, or you're in like 50 leagues. As these are far too many questions, but we'll see what we can do for you here. Full point PPR, 2 receivers and a flex: DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Allen Robinson, Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Boyd, Darrell Henderson, or Singletary. So,
well, you're definitely playing AJ Brown.
Yeah.
He's locked in. Great matchup. He's been tearing it up. Play DJ Moore tonight. And then you're going to have to wait to see the status of Allen Robinson.
Right. So you do Robinson over Boyd in this week?
Yeah, if he's good to go, yeah. I mean, it's just hard for me to bench a guy like Allen Robinson. It's close, though. But again, this decision might be made for you tomorrow. They might rule out Allen Robinson tomorrow.
Say A-Rob's ruled out. Ayuk or Boyd?
Boyd.
Okay. Good enough there. Rick here has a question. Boston Scott, Gio Bernard, or Myles Gaskins, full PPR?
Boston Scott, man. Dude, it's Dallas, man. I know they don't run him a lot between the tackles, but, man, Dallas is so bad. We saw Antonio Gibson. I said it last week on a Fantasy Alarm Show. He's going to score a touchdown. He did. Season high 20 carries. You know, Scott, not going to get 20 carries, but, you know, they'll get him the ball in the passing game. So it's just such a great matchup. So I'm going to go with Boston Scott.
Alrighty. Chulo here wants to know Wentz or Tannehill, and would you trade Miles Sanders and AJ Green for Herbert and Justin Jefferson?
I really don't want to trade Miles Sanders at this point. If you can, you know, I don't think he plays this week. Right. Then they have the bye. They have a great schedule. So, and Herbert, look, he's been great, and I hope he continues, but he is a rookie, and at some point, there's going to be some tough games where he makes some mistakes. I've already seen him make some risky throws. I don't like trading for a quarterback. So, look, I know no one. It feels like no one believes in Tannehill. I know he's very efficient, and it's hard to keep that up without the volume. But when he's throwing A.J. Brown and Jonnu Smith, and teams have to focus on Henry, you know, he's solid. So, would I rather have Herbert? Yeah, but I'm not trading Miles Sanders. Was it to get Singletary, you said?
No, it was Miles Sanders to get Herbert and Justin Jefferson. It'd be trading Miles Sanders and AJ Green. So you're getting Jefferson back with Herbert. He's looking for an upgrade at quarterback. Obviously, he has Wentz and Tannehill. So
I think Wentz and Tannehill are fine, man. Wentz's schedule is phenomenal.
Wentz has been great. I mean, like,
and he's running.
Yeah.
He's getting weapons back. Rager's going to be back.
Goddard's going to be back.
Then Ertz. Sanders will be back. Nah, I think you're good. Don't trade for a quarterback. Keep Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely keep the running back depth, especially an elite running back upside like Sanders there. Would you do here Hyde, Hasty, or AJ Green in a half-point PPR?
Hyde if he starts. I mean, he's probably going to get 10 to 15 touches, maybe catch a couple passes, high-scoring game. He had a touchdown last week. So it's Carlos Hyde if he's good to go. I mean, again, Pete Carroll is always optimistic about injuries. They said they think it's a cramp, not a hamstring. It happened during a celebration. So, I mean, Seattle's one of the tricky spots this week. You know, I put in one league, I got Carlos Hyde in Fab. Another league, I got DJ Dallas. And I just got to wait it out and figure out, you know, what they're going to do. I don't think Carson plays. If Hyde's out, then DJ Dallas becomes the guy.
If you're looking for a value DFS running back this week, Jimmy Touchdown wants to know JaMychal Hasty or LaMichael Pirine. Do you think it's possible either of them get 20 touches? I don't know. Seems like a lot.
Look, it's the 49ers. Yeah. Hasty could. I would doubt it. I think McKinnon will be involved this week and Tevin Coleman. So I really don't like either of those guys.
Okay. Yeah, look for other value. Pirine at least got, I think, like 70% of the snaps, but he and Gore still both had 11 carries. So Jets aren't good. So I would go Hasty over Pirine if that's where you're looking to go. Boston Scott or Ezekiel Elliott this week is a question that people have to ask now because of how bad Dallas is.
I can't believe it. I'm still going to go with Zeke. You know, he's going to get heavy volume. Look, I don't think they can continue to be as bad as they were. I know they have issues in the offensive line. Zach Martin could be back. Looney could be back. So I'm going to continue to roll with Zeke.
All righty. And then last question here before we switch over from YouTube. We have full PPR stop Melvin Gordon or Ronald Jones. The better one will be an RB2. In the flex, would you start Deontay Johnson or the running back you're not deciding? So Melvin Gordon, Ronald Jones, and then Deontay Johnson or the other running back you didn't mention.
I'm gonna go Melvin Gordon if Philip Lindsay's out.
Mm-hmm.
If Lindsay plays, he's looked better than Gordon, and Gordon lost 2 fumbles, so it'll be Gordon and Deontay Jones. I don't know. Nah, go Gordon and Ronald Jones. I know
Okay.
we're seeing Fournette, but it's the Giants.
Right.
I think Jones and Fournette are both solid plays this week, both RB2s. So if Lindsay plays, then I would go Jones and Deontay Johnson.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I like Deontay. I mean, it is a tough matchup, though, obviously against Baltimore, so it could be a little bit worrisome there. All right, back over to Facebook where things are rocking here. Trade question, Kelsey and Wentz for Lamar, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Cooks. His other tight end is Jonnu Smith. So he'd be keeping Jonnu and trading Kelsey.
So
And
Kelsey and Wentz,
yeah, and get Lamar Jackson, Keenan Allen, and Brandon Cooks.
it's not bad, man.
It's not awful.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
not
kind of
awful.
want to keep Kelsey. I mean, look, Janu's had 2 down games. One, he got hurt, and they asked him to block a little bit more last week because of injuries, but I think Janu bounces back this week. I like him this week. Uh, once I heard Kelsey, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to make this deal.
Yeah, I don't
But
like
it's
trading
actually
Kelsey
pretty
either,
good.
but Keenan Allen's going to replace the Kelsey production for you anyways, and especially in a PPR. And then Lamar Jackson, you're assuming, is going to outplay Wentz. So
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson's playoff schedule is absolutely glorious, man. I think
like
in
Cincinnati and Cleveland.
15 and 16, he gets the Giants and Jets.
Oh, geez, that is beautiful.
Yeah, so
That
I
is-
could see making that deal.
Yep. Lamar Jackson or Justin Herbert this week?
Lamar.
Wentz or Jimmy G?
Wentz by far.
Yeah, I agree. Brady or Ryan tonight?
I'm going Brady.
We need 2 wide receivers and a flex. We already asked this one already. We have to know about Aaron Jones. Is the Williams, Dobbins, Brown, Green, yada, yada, yada. We like A.J. Green and Jamal Williams there, assuming that Aaron Jones is ruled out. Next down, Pirine, Fournette, or Hyde.
If Hyde is starting and good to go, it's him. If he's out, Fournette.
All right. PPR bench 1. CEH, Mike Davis to Jonathan Taylor.
I think you got to play Davis and Taylor. I like CEH, no doubt, but we do know we're probably going to see Le'Veon Bell in the mix as well against his former team. But Davis, huge workload, good matchup tonight. And Jonathan Taylor against Detroit. I know we haven't seen the best of Taylor yet. I mean, if this might be the last opportunity to trade for him.
Yeah.
Their schedule upcoming is pretty good.
I like him coming out of the bye too. Coming out of the bye, I think there's a good chance for him this week.
So I expect him to finish strong. So this might be the last day or two to try and trade for Jonathan Taylor.
Hayden Hurst, Trey Burton, half-point PPR.
I'm going Hayden Hurst. He's been playing better. Talking about him and Ryan are starting to connect. So, with Julio Jones, the offense is way better. Hurst almost scored last week. So I'm going Hayden Hurst.
All right, for the last one here on Facebook before we switch over. PPR, rank these. Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, Denzel Mims.
Well, Mims is last. I don't think you needed to ask that. And it was Ayuk and Deontay?
It was, yes.
As of now, Ayuk, we've got to see Deontay Johnson's status. Again, tougher matchup. He's got Juju and Claypool.
Right.
Ayuk is the number 1 at over 100 yards last week. It's Seattle.
Seattle, right.
They can't stop anyone, man. So right now it's Ayuk.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, again,
Deontay.
even though the matchup against Baltimore, Big Ben is just locked in on throwing to Deontay when he's out there. So I like that a lot. Go back over to Periscope here. Breeze or Matt Stafford?
I don't like either. This week, I think I have Stafford a little higher, but Michael Thomas practiced today.
Right now, right?
So we'll see. It doesn't mean he's going to play. So if Thomas plays, I'm going Breeze. I'm so frustrated with Stafford, man, because we talked about it a little bit before we went on air. They're too conservative. Like Stafford had over 300 yards last week against Atlanta in a great matchup. And his only touchdown came because they were in hurry-up mode where T.J. Hawkinson scored as time expired. So it's just hard to trust them because they're just too conservative. So if Thomas goes, I'm playing Breeze. But if you can still get Bridgewater, Burrow, Carr, I would play those guys over both of them.
Yeah, check your waiver wire, see if anybody else is out there. Otherwise, I guess you're going Breeze, you said. And then the last question over on Periscope. In a standard league, Curtis Samuel or Henry Ruggs?
I'm going to go Ruggs. I know he hasn't been heavily involved, but he's a big play waiting to happen. Cleveland is not good defensively. Samuel got a carry last week. Certainly it's possible again tonight, but I'm going to go with Ruggs.
Alrighty. Over on Facebook here, Kevin wants to know Hurst or Jonnu Smith?
Hurst or Jonnu?
Yep.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith. I think he bounces back this week.
Alrighty. And Rod wants to know, would you go Cole Beasley or Amari Cooper this week?
Man.
Amari's still been good, even with as bad as Dallas has been.
I know. The only thing is Cooper's probably going to see a lot of Slay. Slay has done a nice job on him in his career, but I'm going to go Cooper.
Alrighty. Over on YouTube here, we have a full PPR, needs a wide receiver and a flex. Aguilar, Higgins, Shepard, and Demiria Bird because the Patriots have nobody else.
No. We're still not going with Demiria Bird. Can't trust anyone in that offense right now. And for the future guys, Higgins, we need to know Rashard or T. I know we didn't need to go through this recently, but now we do.
Given the grouping here, I'm going to go Rashard probably over T because all those guys seem like they've been on recent waiver wires or maybe even a waiver wire. So
he needed two from Rashard Higgins?
He needed two. One in a flex. It's Aguilar, Higgins, Shepard, and Demiria Bird. Yeah, but it is Rashard. Yeah,
I'm going to go with Shepard and Rashard Higgins.
Alrighty, Shepard and Rashard Higgins. All right, some more questions here. Mr. John Barclay said he has 15 leagues, so he's asking us questions on all of them. We don't have any news, so we'll run down some more of his. Full PPR, need two running backs, Jacobs, Rojo, and Swift.
I'm going to go Jacobs. Remember, tough matchup last week. And I'm going to go Swift has a tough match. I'm going to go Swift because they might pass a little bit more in this game. That will help him.
Full point PPR, need 3 out of the 4. Galladay, Keenan Allen, Robbie Anderson, Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, you're going to have to sit Brown in this one. I know I said I like him, but you can't sit Robbie Anderson. Galladay is money, and so is Keenan Allen every week. Yeah. So it's a nice problem to have. But, basically I think I have those 3 receivers that I said all in the top 12.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, those guys are all elite. I mean, especially full point PPR. Keenan Allen is just money. Standard league, Robbie Anderson or Myles Gaskin?
I'm going to go Robbie Anderson, man. This might be finally a game where he scores. I know you like to kind of go a running back. Miami's tricky this week with Tua. Gaskin's been pretty good, but I'm going to go Robbie Anderson, man. This is a great matchup against Atlanta, and I think he can find the end zone tonight. And, he can put up 80, 90 yards, so I'm going Robbie Anderson.
Hyde, Hasty, or A.J. Green and a half-point PPR for a flex?
It's Hyde if he starts, if he's active. Again, if he's active, he's going to be the main carrier. They'll mix in DJ Dallas, but I will go Carlos Hyde if he plays.
All right. If Hyde is out, A.J. Green or Hasty?
Probably Hasty, but again, you kind of have to see if there's any information on that backfield. It's just tough right now with San Francisco, man. It's hard to know.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. Fulgham or Jefferson?
PPR?
It doesn't say. It just says the 2.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm going to go Jefferson, but again, that's very close. Both those guys are top 20 plays this week.
Yep, I agree with you there. Let's see. Would you play Hunter Henry over that group of receivers we talked about earlier? So the same guy asked the question about Aguilar, Rashard Higgins, Shepard, and Bird. He wants to know if you'd play Hunter Henry over either of them.
I don't know. He's kind of banged up. Yeah. No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Rod wants to know Ayuk, Shepard, Justin Jackson needs 2 for a PPR.
Ayuk for sure, and Justin Jackson.
Okay. Mike wants to know Herbert or Matty Ice.
I got Herbert ranked higher.
Herbert ranked higher. Over on Periscope here, Cup or T. Higgins in a standard?
Oh, man. I'm going to go Higgins.
I like Higgins. I like it too. Cup, he really needs. If he doesn't get in the end zone, I don't think he's going to get you there in a standard league. So, PPR league, it's a quarterback question. Don't need to know PPR. Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr.
Lamar Jackson.
All right.
Man, people are scared to play Lamar Jackson this week, man.
He hasn't been great in like.
So why did you draft him in the second, third round?
Well, listen, that's why we were telling you not to draft him in the second round.
I don't advocate that, and that's the point. But look, I think he's been very disappointing because of where you drafted him. I think he's still. I think as of last week, he was like 10th or 11th in points per game. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to look at. I don't like to look at total points. I like to look at points per game.
Yeah.
But, he still has that high upside with the rushing.
Yeah, ran for 100 yards before their bye.
Right. There was a red flag when he had 2 carries, 3 yards against Cincinnati. It's like, well, wait a second, what? He was on the injury report that week with a knee issue. Then he came back and he rushed for the 108 against Philly. And I understand, man. The guy's been 200 passing yards or fewer in 4 straight games.
3 of the last 4, less than 60% completion percentage.
Yeah.
So big regression throwing the football.
Which is not a surprise. Again, and we're going to go through this again next year. It'll be Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert being drafted early. And we'll tell you it's too early. They can't continue to do what they did. And people will still draft them. And then we're going to sit here again next year in week 8. Oh, do I play this guy? So, look, I'd play Lamar Jackson. I know it's a tough matchup, but they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this. And, again, he can rush. His rushing has still been good. That gives you a high floor. I mean, the guy, if he rushes for 50 yards and a touchdown, right there you got 11 points before he even throws a pass.
Right.
And
you only need 200 passing yards.
Right, 200 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, and you're good. So, I would play him.
Okay. David Montgomery, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker need 2 in a PPR.
Boy, I hate David Montgomery, but he gets volume and he catches passes.
I love that he's catching passes now.
Yeah.
I bet the over 3.5 prop on him the other day, and I was sweating it out because they didn't use him basically until the fourth quarter. But thankfully, he was able to clip that at the end. So
I'll go Montgomery, and then it was Juju and who?
Devontae Parker.
Probably Juju. I know Parker's a little banged up too.
What do you think? What's your take on Tua here? I talked to Howard about it. I talked to Fensty. Nobody has like a feel on how they think the offense is going to look now under Tua. We don't know who he's worked with. They already spread the ball out a lot with Fitzpatrick. Do you think he hones in on one guy? What's your opinion here of Tua this week?
Yeah, I don't know either, man. Because again, we haven't seen him in a preseason at all. That's what's tough about this year. So don't know who his preferred guy is. Does he look for Gesicki, who's been up and down?
Was it Adam Shaheen because they just paid him? Is that why all of a sudden?
But the thing is, Gesicki's not really playing tight end. He's playing slot, so that's why. So remember too, it's an adjustment, trying to adjust to a left-handed quarterback as well. So that's why I think they waited for the bye week. They've had these 2 weeks now, so it's tough. Look, Parker's still the guy. He's the best receiver. I would think he's going to look to him, and then it's trying to figure out how does he mesh with Preston Williams and Gesicki. So Parker and Gaskin are the only 2 I really feel good about this week.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, let's go back over to YouTube. We'll get some more of these questions from John. Full point PPR needs 2 running backs: Zeke, Love Bell, McKinnon, and Carson if he plays.
It's Zeke and Carson if he plays. I don't think Carson plays. So it would be Zeke, and then it was McKinnon and
Love Bell.
I go Love Bell.
Zeke and Love Bell, unless Carson plays, then Zeke and Carson. I'll agree with you on that one. Full point PPR, tight end position. He currently has Robert Tonyan, or he can drop him to grab any of the following. Big list here. Hayden Hurst, Jimmy Graham, Harrison Bryant, Trey Burton, Richard Rodgers.
Well, I like Rodgers for this week of the group. So it depends on, is this a 1 week fill-in or is this someone that you're keeping?
I mean, he's making a drop, so I imagine it's possibly moving forward.
Look, if you need to win this week badly, Rodgers is the play, but he's not that far above Tonyan. So a lot comes down to, is this someone you're keeping for the year? Because Rodgers I like this week the most, assuming Goddard is out, because I did see, I think Goddard practiced today.
Yeah, I think he got designated. I don't know. I didn't know if he practiced or not. I
I
didn't.
thought
I
I
didn't look
saw
for it
that.
though. So
Yeah,
you could be right.
but I don't
Um,
think he's going to play. So if he's out, I love Richard Rodgers this week against Dallas.
yeah, I think if we're looking for like season long, rest of season, I would look at probably Trey Burton, or Jimmy Graham because they're still getting like the volume of targets there. Alan Lazard practiced for the second straight day, so I think Tanyan's value is just about to bottom out here once those
I
guys are back.
don't. I doubt Lazard plays this week though.
No, I don't think he plays this week either. But I mean, Adams came back last week and got 50% target share.
Yeah.
So like, Rodgers is going to key in on guys and that we know about. So, yeah, he said he's
And
streaming.
Bryant's a good play this week too. With Hooper unlikely to play, but
Yeah,
that Hooper could be back after that.
yeah. He says that he streams tight ends in that league, so it looks like to be a week to week thing. So for this week, Richard Rodgers is the way we're going, assuming Goddard doesn't get on the field. So let's see what else we got. Any other questions rolling in here? Anywhere else? All right, Facebook. Do you think Mike Evans is going to be irrelevant once Antonio Brown enters the mix?
I wouldn't say irrelevant, but his stock is taking a huge, huge hit, and I don't think he's 100% either. He's probably going to get Bradbury this week too. So yeah, he's going to take a big hit. With Godwin on the field, we saw the target shares were just way lower, and reports are Antonio Brown looks very good, and they're not bringing in Antonio Brown to play a minimal role. Brady wanted him for a reason. They can tell me all they want. Brady had nothing to do with it. Get out of here. He had everything to do with it.
My working theory is that Antonio Brown's had this playbook for like 3 weeks, and he's been studying it. He probably is living with Brady like he wasn't.
He's probably had it since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, well, right. Well, because I was talking about how Gronk sort of let it slip accidentally that he had the laptop before or the iPad before he was actually traded. It wouldn't shock me if Brady was doing the same thing to AB, getting him involved in everything. Because how else does he jump off the street and Arians being like, he's in great shape, he already knows the road? Yeah, no, he was in the bag the whole time. We were just waiting for this to happen. So not too shocking, but I agree. I mean, Mike Evans hasn't looked good whenever Godwin's on the field, and now Brown's going to be there. Can't be loving that for him for sure. Let's see. Do we have anywhere else? Russell Gage or Trey Burton for a flex?
I'm gonna go Burton. Gage was banged up last week. Obviously, he's playing. Didn't see him on the injury report. So you got Julio, you got Ridley, Hurst, Gurley. So Trey Burton has become a bigger part of this offense here. They've been looking for him. And Rivers obviously doesn't have the arm strength to really go deep and take advantage of those receivers. So we'll go Trey Burton here.
Last one we got. Do we have Ravens D or Eagles D?
Eagles D this week, man. It's Dallas, man. They're so allowing so much pressure. We know the Eagles are going to blitz.
Ben DiNucci
looks like he's going to start.
Yeah, Ben DiNucci. Just say Ben DiNucci.
Looks like DiNucci's going to start. Yeah, I'm playing Philly this week.
How much Rieger do you think we see this week?
I think we probably see a good amount. It was a thumb injury. So if they're saying there was a report, I think a report from a source that said he's going to be active. So it's all about conditioning. So if he's practiced and they feel like, hey, the conditioning is there, I mean, it's a thumb. So if he's showing the ability to catch a football in practice, he should be good to go. So, Fulgham's still the guy there, but it's another weapon. And look, it's a Dallas defense, man. They are just so confused in the secondary. They have no idea what's going on. So all it takes is one big play from Rager, and it'll make your day. So I think he probably plays a good amount. We'll see if there are any reports in the next few days. But there are some people who are desperate this week. Trust me, as I go through my lineups, between bye weeks, there's a lot of good players on buys. There's a lot of questions at running back. Receiver 2 with Allen Robinson. I mean, Rager's, if he's out there, go get him right now.
Yeah. Week 8 was one of the bigger bye weeks in terms of talent. So people who are drafting or planning around this week, most likely anyways, and hopefully, everything that got moved around schedule-wise didn't ruin those plans too much for you there. Rod is actually apparently in our late night freaks alarm after hours listener league. He wants me to trade him Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is available as my 2-5 team works its way up the ladder. So send me an offer. I'm open to pretty much anything at this point to turn it around. But that's it for questions right now, Adam. So why don't we turn our focus again a little bit to this game here tonight? We talked about it already. 51.5 game total. The spread now is down to 1.5, opening up at 3. You and I we're talking a little bit before we jumped on air here, and you don't think Carolina is actually that good. They were able to beat the Falcons earlier this season, which prompted them to fire their coach. So you think Atlanta is able to come in here and cover the spread tonight?
Candidate, I'm assuming a lot of sharp money's coming in on Atlanta because this line keeps moving. I mean, it was 3 last night. I'm seeing it's 1.5 now. So it's a divisional game. Divisional games are always tricky. Now I see this line is down to 1. What is going on, man? So, that's the advantage sometimes of if you feel a certain way to get in early, but it's very surprising because obviously Atlanta's 1-6. We all are well aware of all their struggles, blowing leads left and right. They did it again last week.
That's what sticks out to me is how they've been there till like the final drive of the fourth quarter now in like half the games they've lost.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had the lead against Dallas. That was epic collapse in week 2. They blew a lead against the Bears. They were never ahead of the Packers. I don't think they were ahead, but they were never in the game.
Right.
Panthers game was close, 23-16 just a few weeks ago. So it sucks because I'm not strong. I don't feel strongly about this game. I'm not touching it tonight. And that's the other thing I've always said. If you don't feel strongly about a game, you don't need to touch it. But if you were forcing me to take a side, I think Atlanta can win this game tonight. I know the Panthers 4-3, looking pretty good. Definitely one of the surprise teams. But Atlanta still has that firepower on the offensive side.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they have plenty of guys that can go out there and make plays. I'm checking the weather right now. We had a question about the weather for tonight's game. Looks like we have 76. There is 20% chance of precipitation. So those wondering about the weather, doesn't seem like it's going to be too big of an issue. I know they had some hurricane kind of go through that area, the other day or earlier today or whatever. There's a hurricane statement. It says 5 hours ago. But it's 300 miles north of Charlotte. So I think we'll be okay weather-wise with this one. Not overly concerned there. Another question over on YouTube, Hunter Henry or TJ Hawkinson and a half PPR?
I think it's a tougher matchup for Hawkinson this week, but I'm going to go with him. He seems to find the end zone almost every week. We cannot count on that.
Right.
But Henry was a little banged up last week. I haven't seen the injury report to see if he's on it, but I'm going to stick with Hawkinson. But understand that this is a pretty difficult matchup here. Colts have been pretty good this year defensively and against the tight ends. But I'm going to go with Hawkinson. Stafford just seems to continue to look for him in the red zone.
If you own John Brown, would you drop him for Jalen Reagor this week?
I would. I think, again, I love John Brown, the player, but there's a lot of Diggs gets a ton of targets. Beasley's involved. I just think Brown's going to be inconsistent. Reagor has an opportunity to go in here and be a big part of this offense. Deshaun Jackson's probably not coming back. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, maybe in 2024, maybe he's ready. And
I mean, it's not even the injury that it was last year. Now it's like a calf problem. So
and Fulgham's been excellent, and I expect him to continue. But I would go with Reagor for a team that's going to have to put the ball in the air quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. We don't have any current questions here, so let me ask you.
Wait, real quick, I want to go back to the Indianapolis tight ends. I'm looking at it now, so they've allowed the fewest points to tight ends this year. You want to hear the group they've gone against?
I imagine it's nobody. But go ahead.
Tyler Eifert.
Yeah.
Minnesota in week 2, and no one from Minnesota caught a pass. Chris Herndon, Jimmy Graham, Austin Hooper, and Drew Sample.
Right.
I mean,
so not Travis Kelce is what you're saying.
Yeah, man. So you got to be careful with this stuff. Of course, they're allowing the fewest points to tight ends, man. Look at that group. So
I used to bring that up all the time when, especially the tight end position a lot when we would go over. For DFS plays and they're allowing the fewest points to tight ends. I'm like, but 4 teams use a tight end as as in their offense. So who are they playing? Because this week they're playing like Darren Waller, and that guy's gonna get 10 targets. So do they have the guys to stop him, or is that they're facing, like you said, Drew Sample every week, and the guy's not getting involved? So I agree with you. I like to point that out a lot when I do the DFS podcast with Howard, and we're going over to the tight end plays and matchups there. Looking at some DFS tonight, though, Adam, I don't know if you're a big showdown slate guy. My question to you is if you're looking for a captain slot tonight, knowing this matchup, knowing how bad the defenses are on either side, who would you kind of lean towards as a primary captain build for tonight's
Yeah, I think I don't play the showdown slates that much. I think this is a tough night because there's so many ways you can go, man. I mean, Bridgewater obviously is in play. Uh, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Julio Jones. I mean, there's so many different
Yeah.
ways you can go. Who do you think is going to be the highest owned, or do you think it's spread out?
So I think it's going to be one of the Panthers receivers, in my opinion, would be probably the highest. I would venture to think Robbie Anderson, given the way he performed against them a couple weeks ago, had the 112 yards there. So I think that's probably going to be the way that it ends up going. The lineups that I've built, I've done two. One I did to be like a super contrarian play. I actually had Curtis Samuel as my captain spot there. Back-to-back games. I think he's had like 5 and 6 targets in each one. He scored last week. I don't think many people will go in that direction. But the Falcons defense is so bad against receivers, and slot receivers especially have been tearing them up. But the other one I went with was DJ Moore because Kendall Sheffield is going to be expected to be on him. Pro Football Focus gives him a coverage grade of 39, which is about as awful as I think it could possibly be for him. And I was telling you before we jumped on air, in terms of yardage allowed by cornerbacks, Kendall Sheffield is allowed the third most receiving yards while playing just 4 games. So while everybody else has like a 7-game sample size, Kendall Sheffield's played 4 and is allowed the third most yardage to the receiver position. He actually played in the game against Atlanta earlier, but he was on Robbie Anderson in that game. Robbie Anderson obviously went off for 112 yards, but AJ Terrell was inactive for that one. Terrell is expected to play tonight, obviously, and he's expected to be the one that's on Robbie Anderson. So if Sheffield, as bad as he has played, is going to be on DJ Moore, I've gone ahead and gone Moore as my captain slot pick there.
Yeah, and he's the cheapest of all those big names.
Right. So, which is another thing that I love doing in a captain spot. A guy that's so heavily involved in the offense, but he's cheaper than Gurley, Anderson, Jones, Ridley, the quarterbacks. So you can get really good value there. I found it interesting that the receiving prop I saw on Moore tonight was 67.5 on the DK Sportsbook. And he's coming in with 3 straight games of exactly 93 yards receiving. So it seemed a little low. He's averaging 81 yards a game on the year. I know that he's a big play guy. He's relied on that. If you look at the targets the last couple of games as well, only 5, 11, and 5. So he's got to do a lot of damage with some mediocre, middling targets. But I thought that prop on him was a little bit appealing.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that's been concerning with him is the lack of targets. The last 4 games, 5, 11, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
But he's taking advantage of it. And again, last time he went against Atlanta, only 5 targets, but 4 for 93 and a touchdown. Has 3 touchdowns in his last 3 games. So yeah, you would think, especially if you're expecting the Panthers to perform well offensively tonight in this great matchup, it certainly makes sense to take the over. But yeah, I think Moore's a solid captain play. I just think this is a game where there's a lot of options. Sometimes we get these showdown slates. Like the other night, man, I was struggling for the Bears game because that was a Bears-Rams. Just didn't like anyone in that game.
Right.
When Jen and I were going over it on the Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM on Monday, it was like,
yeah,
really didn't like. I was like, I kind of like both defenses, and
I had
both do that. It worked
in my DK lineup for the showdown slate. So I was definitely right there with you. I thought this was like a kickers and defense night. Wasn't expecting Josh Reynolds to score touchdowns. So my fault, my bad, my mistake on that one. So didn't see that one coming. We have a question: is Julian Edelman droppable? I said yes a couple days ago.
Yes,
and now that he's got a knee injury where apparently he's dealing with bone on bone in his knee, which is never what you want for a receiver. Edelman probably needs to hang it up at the end of this year, anyways. He's just too worn out and clearly doesn't have too much left. So, Rod, go ahead. You can cut Edelman. That's fine.
Yeah, I didn't like Edelman going into the year, not with Brady, the age, the injuries. And then I watched him in week 2 against Seattle and was like, oh, boy, man, I guess I'm wrong. But there's a whole season. That's why you don't take victory laps or losses in week 2. Let the season finish out.
Though a lot of people do like to take victory laps. See him on Twitter all the time. One thing we touched upon already, but obviously we have sometimes late arriving crowds here. PPR league, Rieger is on the waiver wire. Should I pick him up? I mean, I think you should.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends. Is it 10? Is it 12 team? It all comes down to who you're dropping, you know? So there might be some leagues where the 10 or 12, maybe you don't have to, but in general, I think, he's going to be a big part of this offense.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Let's see. Do we have anyone else? Here we go. Deontay worth a start this week. He can also play Brandon Ayuk. So if Deontay is healthy, would you go Ayuk or Deontay Johnson?
Uh, Probably Deontay. He's just getting so many targets. Again, love Ayuk too. I would want to play them both, but if Deontay's good to go, I'm going to go with him.
Yep. Back to that Rager question. It's a 12-team PPR league, and he'd be looking to drop Mike Williams.
I'm gonna do it. I love Mike Williams, but man, last week, man, it was everyone else, and it seems like with Keenan Allen out there. Look, Mike Williams. I've said this repeatedly. Mike Williams is a stud. We saw it that night when Keenan Allen left the game early with back spasms.
Right.
That great catch he made along the sideline, but he doesn't get the volume. It seems when Keenan Allen's there. So yeah, I just think Rager's going to be a bigger part of his offense. So I love Mike Williams' talent. But it's not happening when Keenan Allen's on the field.
Yeah, it's funny because I thought Herbert, he's thrown to Guyton downfield a couple times a game. You thought that would maybe be a Mike Williams play, but it's just hasn't been the case there. We have a half-point PPR, Henderson or Singletary at the running back position.
Henderson, man, Singletary just looks bad. Moss is creeping up on him. It's not happening for Singletary. One rushing touchdown this year. He's got Moss now healthy, Josh Allen. Henderson, I know Malcolm Brown had the touchdown last week. Henderson still had the bulk of the touches, so Henderson.
Alrighty. Half-point PPR, need 3. Cooper Kupp, Tyler Boyd, Fulgham, or T. Higgins?
Oh, that's tough. Boyd and Fulgham for sure. Then it was a half-point PPR, right?
Yeah, half PPR, Kupp or Higgins.
I'll go Kupp. It's close, but, I'll go Kupp against Miami. I think the Rams are not going to have an easy time this week. They're on a short week, and they're traveling to the East Coast for an early game, and Miami's coming off a bye. I think this is going to be a struggle for the Rams this week to win.
To win, yeah. We have a half-point PPR, need 2 wide receivers on a flex. Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. Wish I had those guys on my team. Robbie Anderson or Robert Woods. Has to be an 8-team league.
You can only play 2?
Yeah, 2 and a flex. So Ridley, Metcalf, Brown, Anderson, and Woods.
Anderson and Woods have to be out, man. I mean, Brown's been money in the bank. I think it's 3 straight games of 20-plus points, and you're going to say he didn't practice today. That's what they're doing. He's got the knee issue. They're giving him maintenance. He's good to go. You got to play him. Metcalf, bounce back game, man. We saw what he did 2 weeks ago, and then it flipped. Lockett had 20 targets last week because Metcalf saw a lot of Patrick Peterson, and it wasn't that he kind of completely shut him down. It's just Lockett was always open.
Right.
And Ridley's got to play tonight. So it sucks benching Robbie Anderson, but you got 3 better options.
Yeah, you do. That's a lot of talent you got there on your team. Half-point PPR, need 2 running backs. He has Miles Sanders, but also Boston Scott, Henderson, and Singletary. So we already went over. We don't like Singletary, so you're going Henderson and either Scott or Sanders there. So that would be that group. Let's see. Do we have anything else going on here? So we are winding ourselves down. Bridgewater or Stafford?
Bridgewater.
I agree. Bridgewater, Stafford. I agree there. Rieger, Higgins, or Shepard?
I can't go Rieger in this one. I'm assuming that's Rashard Higgins.
Yeah, it is.
Higgins or Shepard? I'm going to go with Shepard. They'll be playing from behind when he's been on the field. He gets those targets. So I think he has a high floor in PPR, so I'm going to go Shepard.
All right. Standard scoring, 2 flex out of this group of 4. DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Boston Scott, Leonard Fournette.
I'm going to go Moore and Scott. It's just the Cowboys, man. I mean, they're just so dreadful. Scott's probably going to break a long run. He's going to catch some passes. Until the Cowboys prove otherwise, man, we got to keep picking on them.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000% there. Burrow or Matt Ryan?
Burrow. It's close, but I'm going Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard to ignore just the volume that they're letting him throw that football at. I didn't know if this was going to be the case because of him being a rookie and now not really having an offseason, no preseason games. But Cincinnati's out there and they're just like, hey, we saw what you did in college. Just go out there and do the same thing, and they're giving them every opportunity to go out there and have success. Let's see. Any more questions here as we wrap up? Final three. That's right, Jimmy touchdown. I could be eating right now. That's fair. It is almost dinner time here. Adam, do you have any dinner plans? Have you had dinner already?
I already have a little sushi, and I have some more that I'll be eating. So while I watch the game, and then I'm on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio at midnight Eastern. So long night ahead.
Yeah, I got a long night here too. We'll be doing the NDF podcast with Bender, followed by the Fantasy DFS podcast with Bender as well. So a long night. I think I got some pesto pasta. I think
I love some pesto, man.
Yeah. So I think that's what my girlfriend's cooking up for me. So being treated. So I got some pesto pasta waiting for me when we're done with this. Some linguine, and it'll be good. It'll be nice there. Add some Italian bread. It's beautiful. Italian guys like Italian things,
I'm not Italian, and I love Italian food, man.
That's true.
There's a great Italian spot by me, man, where the guys, because a lot of Eli Manning and Daniel Jones went there for dinner last year. Freddie Kitchens was there. So I go to get my food, and he's like, you know who Freddie Kitchens is? I'm like, yeah. He's like, he's eating outside. You want to go introduce yourself? I'm like, nah, man. First of all, it's Freddie Kitchens, and I hate the Giants. But he's eating dinner with family. Like, I'm not gonna go, hey, Freddie, how you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Well, yeah. And then he said Saquon Barkley called him to come eat in the restaurant. This was a couple months back when you couldn't eat indoors. And Barkley wanted to have a big group, and he said, nah, I can't do it. And I go, why not? He goes, because, like, what if regular customers like yourself come in and see it? I'm like, I wouldn't care. He goes, but others would. I go, all right, I get it.
Well, what's your go-to at this restaurant here?
Well, I've been trying to cut out fried foods, but the chicken color Parmesan there is the best I've ever had, bro. It's phenomenal. But everything I've had there is great. Chicken franchise, fried calamari, like everything I've had there is phenomenal.
And it's in walking distance to you?
No, it's a mile and a half, 2 miles, so not close, very close.
I know you like to get your Johnson during the day, so I wasn't sure if this is one of those things where you walk down there, eat a meal, walk it back, burn it off, keep that slender figure that you got.
See, the walking has nothing to do with being slim. It has health, bro. I mean, here maybe advice to all the Fantasy Alarm family, too. We work from home, so you don't realize when you're at home. So I didn't even think about this, but one of my ex-girlfriends was like, let me see your phone. I was like, oh, no, I can't show you the DMs. Nah. But she's like, you've done like 1,500 steps, like, and went through it. Like, she's like, you're kind of dead. You don't even, I was like, oh, shoot. So I was like, all right, I got to start walking every day. So I try to get, 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And when you don't think about it, you're at home, you don't move around much. So I'm older than you and probably a lot of the other guys here. Howard, forget it. He don't care anyway.
Yeah. But he's got that whole barbecue plate in front of him. He's awesome.
Man. And I told you, the dude's going to live to 90. He's going to outlive all of us.
Right. Yeah, I got the dog.
Just walk the dog. As you get older, you got to be conscious of your health, man. Just walk around. It's very good for you.
Yeah, we walk Emma. So that's our exercise. Walk her in the morning, walk her at night, and get the exercise that way. So, all right, let's see. We got anything here else? Questions before we wrap this up? I don't think so. I think that's it, Adam. It is 8 o'clock football time. Go watch it. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll obviously be tuning in to Alarm After Hours with you and Justin Fensterman live. So you can listen to them, get your questions, react to what you saw tonight. But any final parting words here for everybody?
I think it'll be a good game tonight. And again, just wait till Sunday to set your lineups because there's a lot of things that we don't know right now with these running backs. So it's going to be one of those challenging weeks, but we're here to help. So make sure you head over to fantasyalarm.com, hit up the chat. We'll be there for you Sunday as well. So we're here. We're going to help you out. So don't panic.
All right, everybody. Good luck, everybody. And again, hit us up on Twitter if you have any questions. But for now, we'll catch you guys next time.